I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny.
What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch the fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Welcome back, Jim, Brother Dave, Super Dave, and the highly requested Colman O'Mara.
Good morning.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Let's kick it off with the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Some sad news for the JFW family today. Evelyn, the founder of JFW, if it wasn't for Evelyn, there'd be no JFW. That's Jim and Dave's mom, Senior's wife. Let's keep them all lifted up today in prayers, and I'm going to throw that into the trucker prayer. Also, thanks for anyone who prayed for Jimmy V's grandson to come back home. He is feeling better and back at the house with his parents, so that's good news there. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to go out and do some trucking today. We pray for the safety of our fleet, all of their families, and all the other families and individuals we come across on the road today. We pray for patience and the making of good, safe decisions. We pray to be accident-free and that we all make it back to the comforter of our homes this evening. We pray for the healing and 100% recovery for all of our family members that are ill. We pray for peace and strength for the White family and all of Evelyn's loved ones. We pray to help find Amber's mom, and no matter what, we trust you, God. It's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
I'd like to have a moment of silence for Evelyn before we continue. As a reminder, anything you hear on this podcast today is not the opinion of JFW's. It's just the 5 men in this room. Episode 87 had 588 downloads. We are over 40.2 thousand total downloads, and we bumped up in followers to 206. And we also picked up Kuwait.
Nice.
Yeah.
A little different.
That 40,000, that's a mark.
That is a mark.
You know what I mean? I was like, are we ever going to hit that? What an amazing mark. And
yeah.
yet, I'm looking forward to 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's bigger, but I mean, yeah. Tough.
I might bring some chicken wings in that day. So, but I wonder if that person in Kuwait's still alive for listening to this podcast. That can't be going over too good. So in the news,
maybe it's one of our military brothers.
Could be. Good point. So I've been seeing a lot of gender stuff in the news, and they were talking about how many genders there are. And I realized if I had $1 for every gender there was, I'd have $2 and a bunch of counterfeits.
I love it. That's awesome.
Super Dave?
And I thought my joke was going to be bad. This is just,
I thought his fit today. You know what I mean? Like the counter. I love it. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, today. So, what do remote control cars and boobs have in common?
Oh, God.
No? Keep guessing.
Well, they're meant for the kids, but it's the dad who plays with them.
Oh, man. Our ratings are going up or down today.
Yeah, I should be able to follow that up pretty easy because mine's probably much worse. So, two whales walk into a bar. The first one says, "Woo!" What does the second whale say? Shut up, Steve. You're drunk.
Oh, man.
Oh. Those were terrible. I don't even want to go now. Oh, man.
Well, you got to carry us.
So I'm trying to, put on my game face here and do a mom podcast. So I have a mom joke. So, what did the mom say to her baby?
Could be a lot of different things, Jim.
Oh, you're welcome for the womb and board.
That's awesome.
All right, so mine's kind of ill prepared, but why are fire trucks red?
Boy, we've asked Siri this before, and it starts off with like a Russian.
Something.
Yeah, you're always rushing around, and then they wound up in Russia, and then it was a ship, and then they were red, and blah, 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 blah. But I'm sure that's not it.
No, well, you would be too if your hose was hanging out all day.
Oh, man.
And I thought mine was a dirty joke.
Dave. I don't get it.
New employees, we got Carl Jadinger and David Olson. Welcome to the fleet, man.
Welcome, you guys.
Welcome, you guys.
Celebrations, we got a big one. Nat and Anissa Bisignano welcome Luciana Nicole Isabella Bisignano at 6 pounds and 3.5 ounces just last week.
Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. That's their
Nat
first
and
one.
Anissa.
That is our first one.
Yeah, it is,
I've
yes.
talked to Nat quite a bit, man. It's been a cool journey, watching his excitement levels and, a little bit of fear creep in.
Yeah.
But I could just tell Nat's going to be a great dad.
He will be.
He's going to be great.
He's
so.
just one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also he's a pretty I don't know what party he sides with, but he's into guns and stuff like that, right? So I've been
We're pretty clear where he's at.
yeah. I've been showing him pictures of Bella, because she started shooting at 5.
Yeah.
And then, the pit, like, I've been showing him those pictures, like, little girls are cool, bro. You can still do some gangster stuff with them.
That's right.
So, pretty good stuff. Big anniversary today. JFW has its 88th anniversary today.
Yeah.
So,
congratulations, JFW.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
That's crazy. It's been around for that long.
And
Yeah,
not
1935.
not to trump Dwayne Sand, but he's been here 7 years today. So,
Sorry, Dwayne.
Got a little ways to go to get to 88.
Happy anniversary, though, buddy.
Yeah. Happy
Yep.
anniversary, Dwayne. Thanks for all you do for us.
so I missed a couple birthdays last week. It was just an administrative error about. But anyway, a couple people pointed out, like, hey, you forgot my birthday or my wife's birthday. So Tanny Cazares, his birthday was last Saturday the 1st. Lexi Brown, her birthday was Sunday the 2nd. Fred Powell, his birthday Monday the 3rd. Russ Murphy was the 4th. And Francisco Alvarez, his birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, everybody.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Birthday.
Absolutely. And then Dave's son Sam's birthday was yesterday.
Yep, it's on the family birthday celebrations.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, down below, Jim. Sorry, I didn't read far enough. Yep.
It's okay.
Same as Russ.
Yeah.
Yep, same as Russ and same as,
Our
country.
country.
Yeah, same as our country.
Yeah.
Family birthday celebrations. Chris Bortz, her birthday was the 1st. Carolina Areola, that's Alonzo and Veronica's daughter. Her birthday was the 3rd. My wife's birthday was also the 3rd. Happy birthday, Ace. Sam White, July 4th. And Tilia Barnes. That would be Steve Barnes' wife. Her birthday was the 5th.
Today.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. Happy birthday,
birthday,
everybody.
everybody.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Well, there's
All those July
1,
babies.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 covered it.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. This is the first. Brenda Alvarez, that's Cisco Alvarez's wife. She's pretty engaged with the podcast. She's engaged with our Facebook. She sent us a message saying, hey, I don't know if it's too late, but I'd like to be able to wish Francisco a happy birthday. So from your wife, Brenda Cisco, happy birthday. Thankful to be celebrating another one of your birthdays. The kids and I wish you many, many more, and may all your wishes come true. And there's some pretty cute emojis that go with that.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, those are all Halloween babies.
Oh, yeah, I don't look back that far.
Someone had an interesting October.
There's always a reason why.
It's a good Halloween party.
Shout outs. Steve Barnes wrote me a nice email. Hey, Jam, I just wanted to put in a huge shout out to Stingray and 0018 for letting me shout out him to J5 Littleton. I had never been there, and even though it was pretty simple when I asked him to follow him down there so he can show me how to get there and where to dump it, he didn't hesitate. He had to wait a few minutes for me to finish washing out and get loaded. He made sure I filled out my JFW ticket correctly. When we got there, he took the time to help me navigate the gate and show me where to dump. He made sure I didn't look like a total rookie going to a site that I've never been before. So nice job, Stingray.
Yeah, thanks Stingray.
Mike.
Super Dave, you want to give your shout out to George Quintana?
Yeah, shout out to George. On Monday, I think several loads are going to Morton as far as the washout and the rubble loads, and they're having these guys back down this really nasty road and then dump at the end of the road. And with all the rain we've had, it's very soft, and so George raised his trailer up, and the trailer sunk in the mud or in the soft dirt, and he couldn't pull out. And because the pile was behind him and the tractor was stuck, the trailer wouldn't come down either. So he had to call the loader over and have the loader pull him out. And they did a great job. The loader just pulled enough to get the tractor unstuck, and George was able to lower the trailer right at that point. The loader operator stopped pulling. The trailer started coming down, and it was like a ballet. They just did the best job, did it gently. The trailer was able to come down after the tractor got unstuck, but they did it exactly textbook and avoided any type of damage or a tip over. So good job, George, and good job who was ever running that loader as well.
Yeah, nice job, guys.
That caused a new crease in the seat, getting stuck with a trailer in the air. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, and we on the cameras we saw the condition of that road, and honestly, I don't think they should have been dumping back there. They really shouldn't have been.
It's too bad. Chris Beam shot me a message this morning, an email. He wants to give a shout out to Kendrick for pushing his motorcycle out of the water the other day, so he didn't get his motorcycle just completely buried in water. So nice job, Kendrick. And then shout out to Joanne. Anthony shot us a text message. His wife had a surgery last week, and Joanne just does a really great job getting things out to, for birthdays and celebrations and anniversaries, and when we have family members in the hospital. Anthony sent us a nice message. He said, "Good morning to you all. I wanted to send a thank you Monday when Beans," he calls his wife Beans, "received her package. It was too late in the evening to send a thank you. The package made Beans so happy she teared up. Thank you for making her so happy. She is doing better than expected with a surgery recovery. God bless and have a great rest of your week, Anthony." So that's pretty nice. Coleman, you got any shout outs?
I got 3 of them. First one I've got for Paco and our little bromance we've got going on. But I just want to give him a shout out for him showing me the right way to do things because he was my trainer.
Love is in the air.
But no, he just, from day one, he showed me the right way to do things and wouldn't let me do things the wrong way, made sure I was going to be successful here at JFW, which I think I definitely have been.
Nice.
And then Ron in 0011, he kind of took me under his wing with some of the core stuff I've been doing and just taught me quite a bit. Just how to load, right ways to dump, where this is, where that is. And he's always quick to answer a call and just give me a little bit of help.
Nice.
And then also to Casey over at Yard 23 for all the patience he's had with me as I've been learning different things, doing different stuff. I bug him pretty often on some very specific questions, and then just how much he's been training and willing to help me out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great
good
shout
ones.
outs.
Yep, great one.
You sound like you're really hard to deal with. You got to thank everybody for being patient with you.
Man, it sounds like he's got a posse, though.
Got the family is what he got.
Yeah, we got the family, and they take care of me. I take care of them.
Yeah, that's
we all
awesome.
got each other's backs.
Absolutely.
Great. Any other shout outs, guys?
Yeah, I got to jump in there, Jim, just to, probably be a pretty personal podcast, I guess, with Mom passing and stuff. But a lot of people didn't know she had Alzheimer's, and she's had it for about 5 years now. And obviously Alzheimer's is a terminal disease, but I think anybody that's going through that or has that in their family, if they'd like to talk, we learned a lot through the process. I'd be really willing to talk to anybody. And a couple of the shout outs I wanted to give is True Community is the hospice company we ended up using just by fate. And they were fantastic. I mean, if you're ever stuck in that position or that where you have a loved one that's going into hospice, then it doesn't matter whether it's Alzheimer's or another disease. They were just a really good group of people. I doubt they'll ever hear this, but they did a good job. So if anybody needs recommendations, that's a company I'd recommend. And then over the last year or so here, we've been using a company, Home Instead. It's senior care. Mm-hmm. And they had some really good people come in and take care of Mom. Two people that we had pretty regular was Rona and Michelle. And what we do, we're all tough truck drivers, and talk nasty on the CB and
Right.
have all that up. And there's some people out there that are just truly caring, and they're meant to do that job. And these two people were fantastic. A lot of caring going on.
Definitely wired that way.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's good. When you find your path, it's good how they can care for people. And then just my last one right quick is I'll probably have to wait a little bit, but Danielle did a really good job, my daughter.
Yeah, she's amazing. So she's probably a rock for you guys through that process.
Yeah, I mean, she carried Mom through to the end.
Nice. Anybody else? All right.
Man, Coleman, you're getting a sad one, buddy.
Hey, I'm here for it all.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure a way to bump the ratings for him, so he's not stuck with this one.
Coleman's podcast got 50 listens.
We'll have to have
And
him
dropping.
back.
It's the only negative listen.
Somebody listened and took it back. No.
Turn that off.
I'm sure all the people that listen to the podcast, I mean, they're here for you. You know what I mean? So nobody's going to look at this as, a sad podcast. They'll be sad, but I'm sure people want to be there for you guys,
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, and it was not to keep talking about it, Jam, but it's a good thing. I mean, her passing's a good thing. I mean, I don't know if anybody's really going through it, but we've talked to enough people. Alzheimer's is it's disgusting. There's no, I know Super Dave's, his wife's mom is headed down that path, and there's bring on a heart attack. It's going to sound terrible too, but even it's still a terminal disease. I'd rather have a clear path with like cancer or something than this. And it sucks, guys.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no comfort for that person.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was one of the great things about, I'll just say hospice, Jim.
Yeah.
Because I hope all hospice is as good as true.
Yeah.
And they gave us a path. They gave us clarity. They gave us the direction. They gave us what it's going to look like, and all the assistance that we needed. So it was good.
Yeah, I guess if you wanted to relate it to JFW or what we talk about or the training is we try to train this so you guys can do the best job no matter what situation you're in. And just like you said with George, the way the loader and him handled it, that was professionally done. Right. And I guess when you see other companies do the same thing and they've got the rules and they've set it up and it goes forward, and for it to happen that way, there was just some good people that took care of the stuff. Yeah. And that's what we want. That's what we want for everybody here when you're out doing a job, just like not contaminating the load, cleaning your trailer out, whatever it might be, that we bring the best to the customer. And in this case, we were the customer.
Right. Along those lines, I was going to mention, I'm sure people wonder what they could do. And something I thought about this morning is if you want to do something for Jim and Dave, just do your job the right way, so they don't have to worry about things going on here, so they could be with their family and have a clear mind and not worry about dumping in the wrong bins or texting and driving or all the things that we just drive into the ground every week on the podcast or in safety committee meetings. Do your job for these guys so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. That's a nice thought. That's a good goal. I'd take that over flowers any day.
Absolutely.
Moving into the discussion part of things, announcement as far as Plant 14 goes. Plant 14 sand will change from Morton to Vara starting today. So if you're bringing in sand to Plant 14 and you find yourself at Morton, you're in the wrong place. That should be on everybody's dispatch. Look at your dispatches. Don't assume because you're taking sand somewhere that you're getting it from where you picked it up. We just let somebody go on Friday for picking up the wrong material at the wrong place and bringing it to the plant. It wasn't a first offense. It was a repeat offender. We had just lost confidence in this person for not looking at his tickets and bringing things where they need to go. So we can't have you just dropping stuff off from where you want to wherever you want. You got to look at your tickets, people.
That'd make our jobs a lot easier. Just pick up at the closest place and bring it to the closest place.
Or wherever you wanted.
And
that.
put the farthest place away on the ticket, right?
Right. Yep.
I got 13 loads to
Yep.
Plant 13.
Yep. And just bump up the tonnage to whatever you want.
Right.
So,
Right.
another announcement, XBE is live. So we need to have drivers entering tickets in Axon and XBE. Things to keep in mind. The GPS is active. Check in, check out for each lane/pit plant for each trip. Rubble trucks included. Clear and visible pictures of tickets for submission. So I know it's kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt, but that is something that we are working on from Brandon, and we need to do a good job at it.
I would say one thing on that. I noticed the other day I was using that. If you're slip seating trucks, like kind of I am right now, make sure you bring yourself a phone charger because that app will eat up your battery. By about noon, I had a dead phone.
Oh, wow.
Trying to figure out what to do. So make sure you're prepared and, as Brother Dave would say, have situational awareness.
Yeah.
And keep your phone charged to be able to do your job the right way.
Great advice.
No, it is. That's a great tip. It's so weird because some people are having that problem and some people don't. So I wonder if there's some setting or, maybe something we could reach out to XBE on.
Yeah, or
just to
something
ask,
how it's tracking the GPS and what it's it's doing that you can turn
Yeah.
it off where it's not all the time.
Yeah.
Like-
it should only be tracking the GPS when you're at pit or at plant.
Yeah, or
It's not in between, and I would just wonder if that's a setting somewhere.
or gave it permission only when you use the app.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know in the phone.
So when you try to do that, it tells you it wants all the time.
time.
It wants to always allow because
Yeah.
it tracks your. There's a driver movement chart.
Gotcha.
If you have someone show you at the end of the day.
Sure.
But it kind of goes through, shows, hey, you were here for this long, and then it shows a curve of your drive time, and it follows you all day long with precise location. So
I'm sure there's a reason for that. They want to
yeah.
be sure you didn't leave the pit and stopped at Bob's Rock Yard and then showed up and dumped the half a load that was left on the trailer, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's truly a lot of trust in what we do that we're not doing something with the material.
Right,
And
yeah.
like everything in the world, it usually gets spoiled by somebody else.
Right.
We're doing it the right way, and we've always done it the right way. And, we've heard the stories about people, not clearing the scale, or, hey, I got a flat tire, but they went back and got loaded and then leave. And, there's always stuff like that, guys. So it has nothing to do with really us or nothing to do with Brandon, just a safety that they're trying to put in. It started on the paving side. We believe it's really good for the paving side because it's hourly. It's easier to track the trucks, how much asphalt goes to the job, because you can't bring in 5 extra tons of asphalt. You just can't do it, right? You'd be over paving. So with us, it doesn't matter as much with being over or under on the tonnage, but just something Brandon's trying to implement to make themselves better. And you know how we feel about things that'll make us better. So Jam said it, a little bit of hassle doing both the stuff, but it's better than sitting and hand filling out paperwork at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you were talking about, it's not that one person could ruin trust for everybody.
Absolutely.
If you're a company like Brandon or us, and you have something happen to you that just hurts that bad, you won't trust anybody. You'll put things in place to ensure that doesn't happen again.
Of course.
Yeah, here it's off the subject, Jan, but the same subject is, so I had to talk to the coroner last night, and he asked some questions that pretty well pissed me off.
Oh, wow.
And it was for reasons that other things went on. And you get out of that conversation and you're like, really? And then I ask about it. I asked the true community about it, and they explained it, and you're just like, man, people, just.
But it was about abuse and
right,
things like that, and you're like, after you understand it, then you understand it, right?
Yeah.
But until then,
you feel
thinking,
like
what?
you're being
scrutinized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scrutinized is perfect.
I talk about it. Mom fell and had a broken bone, 2 months ago, had a collarbone and some other stuff, and that came up. Do you think that was attributed to her death? Like, no. What are you talking about? We were at the hospital. We were at the hospital the second time, all this stuff, and I found it offensive.
Right.
But there again, what about abuse?
Right.
What happens with other people?
Sure.
So like Dave said, when you get it, you get it. But at first, it's like, no.
Right.
That has to be standard procedure, because I had the same thing happen to me when Jackie got stung by the bee. And so she went into anaphylactic shock, and I told her to go lay down, and then she was going to throw up, so she went to the kitchen sink, but she fell and cracked her head open, and the paramedics tried to accuse me
right.
of hitting her and I got pissed, Jim.
Sure.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, but it has nothing to do with.
It's got to be a standard procedure for these emergency people like that.
Yeah, with us.
Yeah, it's like we're saying, how many times did something bad like that happen, where it became the standard.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
To
that's when it becomes a standard. That didn't happen one time, right, Jam?
Yeah.
And it never fails. That stuff, you're not at your finest hour. You're usually exhausted.
Right.
She passed after 11 last night, and the coroner didn't show up and pick her up till 2. We had to have Sam to the airport at 4:30 this morning for a 6 o'clock flight. And
Wow.
Well, we may as well just come to work today. So
Wow.
why not?
We're up.
I give you guys credit for coming to work after all that.
Yeah.
Got people that count on us though, and we count on you guys, and it's good to be around people and you guys.
Sure.
That's how it is. Yeah.
You guys are built differently too. You're not the only ones, but some people their fish passes and they're out for a week. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's a.
To each their own.
Yeah,
right.
We've talked about that, Jam, so much in the last week of how we're all dealing with it and stuff, and even announcing it. I'm sure a lot of people, here knew Mom, and Stingray and Scooby and Super Dave and stuff, Linda and things like that. But you just the old saying, you don't walk in their shoes.
Yeah.
You don't know how people are going to take things or react, and that is a path. We talked about it, and Mom and Dad, we mentioned it, married 64 years.
That's insane.
And, you lose that soulmate, the love of your life, the person, even if you don't get along, that's a person you've spent 64 years with.
Right. You're connected.
You're connected. And I don't know how he feels.
Right.
Yeah, your dad's going to struggle.
Yeah.
And there's really no wrong or right way to mourn somebody.
No.
It's
Yeah.
You could have, you could have all the different ways personally yourself. Like 1 minute you could be laughing, and the next minute you could be crying. You may not cry for 5 weeks, and then you might cry for 5 months. There is no wrong or right way, and everybody does it differently. So, Yep. All right, let's see. Next, the Great West accident packets have been put in the glove boxes. So, as everybody knows, or maybe some of you don't know, we changed insurance companies. Great West came out last week. They gave us all accident packets for for the trucks and our personal vehicles, or company vehicles, I should say. We put in, I want to say 90% of the trucks got taken care of. But everybody, if you hear this, please check your glove box. Make sure there's an accident packet in there from Great West. If there's not, come ask myself or JR for one. Everybody at Yard 23 should have got one from Casey. The one thing I'll say about that, there's some good paperwork in there, but you don't call the 800 number. We'll take care of that part for you. But it is good to document as much as you can on the paperwork they have there. But myself or JR will take care of the insurance claim. So do not call the 800 number.
Yeah, exactly. Just like it's always been. I'm just going to say it again, Jam. Call the office, get a hold of, JR or Jam or somebody here and continue. But I know when I looked at the packet, they even had little pull apart like trucks, like you could put on the map and different stuff like that. And it's just a really comprehensive packet. And like Jam said, it might help you, call, make sure everybody's all right, you're all right, secure the scene, anything like that. But then in the moment, let's try to fill out this packet.
Yep. Don't admit fault. It gives you really good instructions. But also, there's a place in case the other person admits fault. They have a little exoneration sheet where you pull it off, and that person would say, like, God forbid, Colman, you got in an accident today, and dude jumps out and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, that was my fault." Okay, cool. Nobody's hurt, right? You rip this off. He fills it out saying you're exonerated. It was his fault.
Well, that's kind of cool.
That is very cool. Yep. Yeah, so good stuff. Looks like a good company. We did quite a bit of research, and they talked to us, part of the Motor Carriers Association, and I think it'll be a good partnership.
I liked it so far. So
Good.
It was nice to see their team and, all the support that they're willing to provide. I mean, we had some great support at Acuity as well.
Right.
Samantha Equipment was awesome.
Right.
But yeah, this is just, no matter what, we'll call the 800 number and take care of it. So good stuff.
Yeah, another number we'll never call it. Let's just say that.
Wouldn't that be nice? No accidents for you.
Yes.
Sorry,
and
Great West.
they say things don't ever change, but I mean, Jim and I were trying to figure it out, and we think we were with Machan Agency for over 30 years.
30
Is
years,
that
Dave. Got
somewhere
to
around
be
there?
so close, yeah.
It was bittersweet. I mean, we dealt with Steve and his wife Susan, and even their mother Eva, and I mean, a family business.
His dad,
that we've dealt with for years and years and years, and
Yeah, I mean, I watched you guys from the first meeting of, oh my gosh, we got to go meet with Great West. And, oh my gosh, and it's like, your eyebrows, they didn't really raise the eyebrow until about the middle of your meetings. I'm like, man, they sure keep meeting with these guys a lot if they're not interested. But I know how hard of a decision it was because of your loyalty to Machan.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
at first there was no budging you guys, but
Yeah.
hey man, can I say how much we're saving?
No.
I don't want to jinx it, Jam, because we put a lot at stake, too.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of skin in the game for sure.
We
I mean, we talked about raising the deductible. That's already public knowledge.
Yeah.
Our deductible for accidents is $25,000.
Yep.
So if we are at fault, the first $25,000 comes out of JFW's pocket.
Yep.
With that, comes some savings, but we don't. You can lose those savings pretty easily by having accidents. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just to mention, maybe I did on one of the other podcasts when we've been talking about it, but Eric,
Z.
Just Eric Z. He has a really unique last name. To me, hard to pronounce, but super good guy. And I have to throw out there, like you're saying, we were having the meetings and stuff. And Jam, I was pretty rude to him, at a point like, no, we're not going to give you that. We're not going to do this. Just give us a quote. And man, he stuck in there, and he never got upset. He just was like, here, this is what answered all our questions. At the end, he had to be just going, oh man, wait,
that Jim White's a tough nut to crack.
He was like, I'm starting to hate these guys, And it turned out good. We're looking forward to it.
Then they had their safety loss representative come out, and he proceeded to need more questions answered. And both Jim and I are like, we just need a quote.
Right.
We don't. You need to know like JR's phone number and full name, and
Right.
we just need a quote. We'll
Right.
get to that after the quote. We got. We're pretty short. It was pretty rough.
It was funny because they probably started visiting here in the wintertime, because the other day when Eric Z was here, he didn't have a jacket on. He's pretty buff. I was like, oh, this dude takes care of himself.
It is Zurbriggen.
Zurbriggen?
Yeah, Zurbrigen. Zurbriggen.
I want to hear Randy say that name. Z.
Yeah, so shout out to Eric if you ever hear this podcast, man.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Yep.
Good stuff. Next on the list, Rebel truck drivers. The girls upstairs brought this to my attention. You need to clock in and clock out as Rebel, please. I guess that's kind of slipping through the cracks right now, so let's get back on it. Make sure you're clocking in and clocking out as Rebel. Next on the list, Super Dave, this one's yours. You want to talk about cab cleanliness?
Yeah, I think most people know by now the cab cleanliness is tied into their quarterly safety bonus. But nobody wants to jump into a cab when they're doing slip seating or their truck is broke down and jump into a truck that is just strewn with trash. And that happened to me when I was doing a test drive on Monday. And I pick a truck. I like to pick certain trucks that are parked in an area basically on one side or the other of the red shop, because it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the driver candidate to back in there. And I'll set my cones up for that purpose. And I opened the door of the truck, and it was just disgusting. I mean, it looked like there was a week's worth of trash on the floor, and I couldn't use that truck. I had to close the door and go pick another truck. But I just couldn't believe it, and I was very surprised at whose truck it was and then how they left it that way.
Who was it?
Yeah. He will know, because we're going to talk to him. But, please be respectful of other people and, leaving your truck the way you would want it to be left, or leaving somebody else's truck the way you would want your own truck to be left.
Was it one of the red trucks, Dave?
It was one of the red Kenworths, Dave.
Oh, narrowed it down by
Right?
50
Yeah.
or whatever it might be.
Was
25.
Was it here at the main yard or yard 23?
It was here at the main yard.
Do
Of course.
Do we got 19 more questions?
Yeah, I'm going to start doing my test drives over yard 23.
There you go. Take Coleman's truck. It's down right now. But
I don't even know where it's at right now.
how was 46 when you got in it today?
Today it was in good shape because I drove it on Friday or
How was it?
Monday and I cleaned it. But
So not too good.
when I got into it on Friday, it was
Pretty messy.
it is. I cleaned it and it's okay.
A little dust is one thing,
Right.
but trash and used paper towels and food, that's another. That's terrible.
And you guys give us trash cans at the fuel island as we're sitting there waiting for our fuel to be done. Grab like the two things and throw them away real quick.
Yeah, there's trash cans
Two
everywhere
things.
we go.
There's like 30 things on the floor of that truck you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked like a garbage dump.
Wow.
It did.
Yep.
I don't know how you can drive all day in that. Like
Right.
We're in these trucks for 12 to 14 hours a day. That's why I keep my stuff clean, put the towels down.
Yeah, it's your office.
Like I'm there all the time. I want it clean. It keeps me sane.
Holy crap, Dave. Huh, that's terrible.
I show this to you, Jim?
No.
Can you see it, or?
Oh, yeah. I got it. I made out now. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Should we post that?
We could put it on the reader board, huh?
There's no truck number on it. We should do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, send it to me. I'll make an announcement, Paycom announcement. All right. So we talked about mud flaps last week, and I got a lot of feedback. I didn't get any feedback that said, no, we shouldn't do a thing about it, right? A lot of the guys were pretty adamant about, yeah, you should, some of it was extreme, like, yeah, lost the safety bonus, comes out of their paycheck, like, going in pretty hard. But all the feedback I got in one form or another said that we should take it out of the safety bonus or hold the driver accountable. They did like the, you get one a year, or, big question was, well, if I didn't lose a mud flap this year, do I get two next year? If I don't have one in 5 years, do I got 5 in my bank? So a lot of interesting feedback. My fear about the mud flap program is guys are going to start hiding that they're ripping off mud flaps. Like, oh, I just tore a mud flap off. I'll just try to sneak in later and take care of it, or maybe take one off somebody else's catwalk, or, stuff like that. So,
I suppose anything's possible, right?
yep. What do you think, Coleman? What'd you think about the mud flap situation?
I mean, given I just ripped one off last or like 2 weeks ago, something like that. But no, I agree with it. We shouldn't be doing it. It's part of our job to not rip mud flaps off, dump properly. And yeah, mistakes happen here and there. None of us are perfect.
What did you do? How'd you rip yours off?
I got too close to a pile and started pulling away before I should have. And yeah, I made a mistake. I owned up to it. But the 1 year, yeah, you do it once. I'm never going to do it again, honestly. I saw exactly what I did after I did. I was like, oh, there goes my mud flap. But
what day was that? Was that on Wednesday?
No, it was 3 weeks ago now.
Mike Bortz not Mike Bortz. Rick Ray either called me or texted me. I can't remember, but yeah, just listened to the podcast and then ripped a mud flap off over at Plant 14. But they had their issues over there with that lip, tearing mud flaps off. But he was definitely for charging back mud flaps.
Actually, shout out to the guys at Plant 14. They just took that lip and the rock pile away. I was there on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot
Good.
better.
Good.
They're working on getting it level. And the loader, him and I worked together all day to get everything packed down and doing better over there. But it should be a lot safer and all that over there for now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got a really long text on Friday afternoon at 4:35 p.m. from one of the drivers that thinks it is not practical to have the drivers pay for mud flaps.
Who was that?
For various reasons. Sometimes it's a slip seat guy that might partially tear your mud flap. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the loader operators leave piles in, inconvenient places that, you have to try to drive around. He pointed out all of the front fender mud flaps on the Nuttall trailers that have been tearing, and the driver has to replace those. But
We don't replace them, though. We just take them off.
I do agree that there are a lot of situations that are not that particular driver's fault, who's assigned that truck or trailer. But I think in those situations, we would understand that and make arrangements for that.
We need
right?
another committee. We need a mud flap committee.
Well, we would, wouldn't we? We'd need to create a spreadsheet. Yet another spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Sounds like a case-to-case basis.
Absolutely,
almost.
Coleman.
Yeah.
That's
Used to be that talk show host, Mudflap McGrew. Maybe we could.
what? Is that a joke?
No, there was a DJ here in town, a country. His nickname.
Wasn't he on KYGO?
Yeah, Mudflap.
Yeah, Mudflap.
Steve Mudflap McGrew.
Yeah, maybe we can just get somebody to be the Mudflap guy.
I want to.
Quite the comic, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure Mudflap's a pretty popular CB handle. I'm sure a lot of guys get that CB handle as a nickname, Mudflap. Tear one off. What's up, Mudflap?
I wish we could use the old belting material. You would never rip one of those off.
I think
ever.
we'd pull the fender or the
would.
back of the trailer off. Man, they were tough, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. You guys got anything else for the discussion before we move on to Colman?
I don't. Do we have a clear path on the mud flap then?
No, we sure don't.
So is that going to be?
Steering committee?
Okay. Because the whole reason we posed that question to everyone was to get do we have a clear path that something should happen then?
Yes.
The majority are in agreement.
That was
Okay.
unanimous, don't you think?
Yeah,
James?
well, not unanimous because Super Dave, he just had one that said we shouldn't. But every other one that I got, did you guys get any feedback?
I got one from Ryan Emmerling, and I got 2 or 3. I'm sorry with
I know
cool.
Potter
lack of
was-
sleep. I can't think of who the others were from.
Right. Potter was for it.
Yeah. I talked to Potter. Dave told me about Ryan. I got one from somebody else, like you're saying, Dave. I don't remember. I have to go back and look. But
So I don't think everybody's for it, but out of the people that spoke up, one person's against it, and probably 10 people were for it.
Gotcha.
yeah,
I have one more thing for the discussion.
Great.
So for 5 months, we did this podcast on snow days. We'd be sitting here on a Wednesday and it'd be snowing outside.
Yeah.
nothing's changed. It's July. We got an inch of rain last night. It's rained, I don't know how much, but could we just stop the rain? This is just ridiculous. It's killing
crazy.
me.
That goes earlier in the prayer, Dave.
Yeah, it should go in the prayer.
I'm not sure it's in the discussion. It needs to be in the prayer.
It snowed every Wednesday. Now it's raining every Wednesday.
Right.
Man, I know.
Man, enough.
I know people used to do a rain dance because they needed rain.
Right. That's what I was going to say. The farmers pray for rain, right?
Now we got to do a rain dance to stop it.
Yeah, to stop it, because I think they have so much flooding. And last time we were out east, they have wheat that's laying down because it's growing so much and it's not drying and it's laid over, and they'll still lose their fields. And
It was coming down so hard in my house yesterday. I told you guys the wind actually knocked over a 4x4x12 that held a shade sail up.
Yeah,
just snapped that. And then, I was just watching the rain. I mean, my street looked like a river. The water was flowing so fast. The water was coming over my gutters because it couldn't drain fast enough. And then I looked out my side and I just seen all this standing water, and I was like, well, it's standing away from the house in between mine and my neighbor's house, but it's on the north side and everything runs down because north is higher than south there. And I was like, holy cow, like that could be bad. But the way it all just stayed right in between our houses. But it was deep.
yeah, it was crazy. In fact, being at Mom and Dad's last night, they have a roof leak we've discovered, but it's by the fireplace and has been leaking in the cabinet, so he didn't know about it. And it was just bad enough that it was like it was running out the cabinet as we were waiting last night.
Wow.
So it was like, well, that's a problem.
A little waterfall.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, we were joking it was their water feature inside their house.
I mentioned it to you guys this morning, but I just looked it up, and through June 30th here, Denver has officially received more rain than Seattle.
Wow.
From January 1st.
Guess we're the new Seattle.
I'd believe
Right?
it.
Yeah. We're at
Hopefully not.
14.42 inches of rain and melted snow, and Seattle's at 14.02 is all.
Yeah, we're going to break all kinds of records this year.
We're going to be sadder than they are.
So if you've been up the canyon recently, go take a look at Clear Creek. It is so high and flowing so fast. I haven't seen anything like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, they have it closed down to all recreation.
I bet.
Oh yeah, I would.
Like no one's allowed in it.
Yeah,
Probably
somebody
won't be
will
for the
get-
rest of the
somebody
summer.
will do it.
Somebody will get in it though, Coleman. They're always.
Yeah, some
somebody.
people will die.
There's always that
this
one
year.
person.
It's like you're not supposed to ski backcountry and avalanche warning, but somebody goes.
There'll be a dirter. Dirter. Let's go rafting. Dirter.
All right, Coleman. So who is Colman O'Mara? What do you like to do when you're not trucking?
I'm an adrenaline junkie. Like you just said, I backcountry ski in avalanche areas in the wintertime. But no, it's just
So you're going rafting next week.
No,
Why has Coleman got a canoe in the back of the
no, I just really an adrenaline junkie. Dirt bikes, race cars, fast trucks, whatever it is, I can get my blood pumping with.
What's the most intense thing you've ever done?
What do you mean intense?
Like scariest? Like have
Yeah,
you
like
been
what did you
bungee
barely
jumping?
survive?
Yeah, do you go base jumping?
Yeah,
No.
jumping off the
Do you wear the
stratosphere.
squirrel suit?
I want to go skydiving really bad, but no, probably when I was like 14, preparing for amateur nationals for motocross. Just some of the stuff I was doing
Yeah.
at 14 years old on a dirt bike was. Looking back at it, I'm like, oh, I probably should have died or
Like what were you
gotten
doing?
really
were
hurt.
you doing like Superman jumps? And stuff?
No, just the speeds I was going on a racetrack, like the one right off 470 and I-70 right there.
Yeah.
That's my home track. I live really close to over there.
Gotcha.
But just some of the things that we do, jumping hundreds of feet and
How many bones have you broken?
none.
Wow.
Actually, no, that's a lie. I broke my leg skiing, but never broken anything on a motorcycle.
You must be pretty good.
I try.
What kind of bikes do you have now?
I just got back into it after a little hiatus, but I'm on KTM's.
What size?
252 stroke.
Okay. Wow. Power band.
Something like that. Something like that.
Okay.
But no, it's basically all I do is chase an adrenaline rush.
Who do you ride with?
Right now, kind of just me, myself, and I. My dad and I grew up doing it together from the time I was like like 3 years old. So I learned how to ride a motorcycle before a bicycle.
Oh, wow.
My mom showed up, said, put the bike away. You need to learn how to ride a bicycle before you can be back on the dirt bike. I was on the dirt bike 10 minutes later.
Oh, that's funny.
But-
Mikey's granddaughter, she's riding a dirt bike and by herself now. She's 5.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
It's so cool to see the little kids out there on little PW50s and all that. It's cool to see that parents are not sheltering their kids. They're letting them go out, maybe get hurt a little bit and
Sure.
play in the dirt.
Those are free range kids.
You so
Total
when
different.
you were at the when you were at the truck rodeo, you brought your girlfriend with you. You guys still doing your thing?
Here and there. It's complicated right now.
Gotcha.
But,
I didn't bring it up to pry into private life. I just worried about does she get scared? When nervous?
she's utterly nervous about me getting hurt, going off on myself. Like, so yesterday I went riding. I was completely by myself, and I kind of realized that half of the day. I'm like, I don't have anyone to like scrape me up and drive me to the hospital. Maybe I'm gonna just stay calm today. But she's like, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to get hurt. I'm like, yeah, but you got to have fun. You got to live. I'm not gonna go live under a rock.
Okay, so that was just yesterday. You guys are together.
Yeah.
I'm an adrenaline junkie. I'm an adrenaline junkie too. I climbed up a ladder the other day and I almost fell. So
Doing those honeydews, right?
by myself. Nobody was going to be there to scrape me up.
I can honestly say ladders scare me more than dirt bikes do.
You know what scares me is the roof. I'm so scared of my roof, like cleaning the gutters out, just getting near the edge.
Oh,
I'm
man. You can't help not to think about Dan Hawk. You go up there and you're like, oh, God, don't break my legs. Yeah.
Okay. So, Coleman, you came from a concrete washout operation. If anybody doesn't know what that is, if you ever go to like a newly built or a residential area being built, after the mixers get done delivering their concrete, they need some place to wash out, right? So there's these big steel washout areas, which some people abuse and just dump the whole load of concrete in. I've never done that, but just saying.
It's like a miniature roll-off.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is. It's a
miniature
roll-off. The mixers can like back up onto them. It's actually pretty cool what they do. But
Yeah.
Man, I got 3 yards left. What am I going to do with this? Sweat it up and let it roll.
all the time.
Oh, man, those things are great. What other driving experience did you have before coming on board here to JFW?
Let's see. So I worked for City of Centennial for a while, doing like some snow plowing and did some tandem work, and then I started out by running cranes for a tree company. So running an old BNSF grapple truck and lifting up logs as big as the truck. It was actually a lot of fun. Then right towards the end of my employment with the tree company, we got a 121-foot Powfinger tree met crane.
Oh, very nice.
So they were kind of teaching me how to operate that and drive that. It's nuts when you got 100 foot of boom out and a tree hanging off because it has like a claw and a chainsaw on the end of the crane.
Yeah.
So you grab onto the tree and cut it, and the crane does all the work for you. You sit there with a little fancy remote.
Wow.
That's badass.
That is.
Yeah, I was just watching a short or a reel the other day, and it wasn't 100 foot, but it's like a skid steer almost, or a big piece of machinery that just picks it up, and it's got that chainsaw just ripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so badass.
No, it's crazy what they can do. We could pull down a cottonwood, like one of those big old 100-year-old cottonwoods, in an hour.
Wow.
Mixed with the 2 trucks. It was crazy what we could do.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. So Super Dave brought this up the other day. He wanted to know how you got so interested in trucking, because you got like an old trucking soul. Super Dave, I quote, said, Coleman missed trucking by, what'd you say, a generation? Like he should have been
you mentioned that the other day,
I
Coleman.
said when you and I were talking. I honestly don't know what has drawn me to it. I've always liked kind of driving and going different places. When I was in high school and getting to like a Sam's age, I would just go out and drive for hours and hours and hours. I'd go drive 5 hours away, go, how did I get here? And then be like, I guess I have to drive all the way back. But it's probably that. I love the car. I love being out, being free, and just trucking is that. And I get paid to do what I love every day. It's not even work to me. I get to come have fun.
That's awesome.
Coleman, did you know how to drive an 18 speed?
I do.
Okay.
I learned on an 18 speed.
All right, I'm just checking. Very cool. So you've been here pretty much 6 months, and you're already what we would call a go-to guy. That doesn't mean you get special treatment. We just know that we could send you anywhere to do anything. You've built that reputation. You do end dump, you've done cores, you've done the water tanker. You're the backup lowboy operator, and you're also part of the snow crew, right?
Yeah.
What'd you do last year on the snow crew? Were you a hand shoveler?
Yeah, I was one of the hand shovelers.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So Colman wanted to get on the snow crew. Here he is. He's got all this operating experience. He could run that Hemi chainsaw crane that he's talking about, right? But he's running a snow shovel on the snow crew. I mean, that's badass, Colman. So what's your secret on becoming a go-to guy? Did you demand to do these things? And do you refuse to do other things? Do you tell dispatch, hey, put me down for these things. I'm not willing to do these things. How does that work?
I mean, I guess it's not really a secret. I just volunteer for the opportunities. If I know there's an opportunity, I go and I might be a little persistent. That's kind of how I got on cores, but I might be like, hey, I want to do this. Hey, can I do this? Hey, let's go find time. Hey, I'll come in on a Saturday and learn how to do this. Okay. I want to know how to do everything and be a team player. If I need to go like bulk for a day, I did bulking for 2 days, so I can figure it out. I can figure out what to do with cores. If they need help there, I'm going to go do that. It's good to be versatile, in my opinion, to go and help out where needed, and then also it keeps me busy. I was like, no idle time. I go crazy during idle time. I can't sit still for more than 5 minutes.
What have you refused to do here?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay. What don't you like to do here?
Take days off. But
good answer. That's a good answer.
I mean, honestly, my
mom would be proud of you.
If I had to say my least favorite thing to do, it would probably be mucking around at plant 2 in the water while I'm doing the water truck.
Gotcha.
When you fill your big rubber boot with water, it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's got to be done, and I'm still happy to do the job.
How's the money been for you?
Been great.
Okay. Is there anything here at JFW that you feel you can't make money at?
No.
Okay.
You just got to show up. You show up for the early loads, and you get that late load every once in a while.
So you go home, you get a dispatch, Friday plant 12. How does that make you feel?
Work is work.
Okay. You see where I'm going with this. I'm just throwing a bunch of scenarios out to you that we get to deal with here where, we hear, I can't make money doing that. Why am I on that plant? What did I do wrong? Stuff like that. But here you are 6 months into it. You volunteered to do everything. You're willing to come in on your days off to learn how to do it, and it's been working for you. So that's impressive, Colman. We love that, and that's part of the reason we wanted to have you on the podcast, besides the fact that other people were like, you got to have Colman on the podcast. You got to have Colman on the podcast. And then when I asked you probably over a month ago, and you're like, I don't think I'm ready for the podcast, and then you're ready. So good deal.
Honestly, I'm still nervous, but I think we're doing pretty okay.
We could tell you're super nervous. This is probably a lot of adrenaline for you.
More anxiety than anything else. But
well, what's the nervousness about a podcast?
I say it's not the podcast; it's the company I'm with. It's people I look up to and want to be like.
Gotcha.
Jim and Dave have built something amazing. Mom and Senior really built it. They've continued it.
Yeah.
But that's something I want to do. I eventually want to start a business or run a business and just be self-made. I was never the best in school or anything like that, but I will be successful. I don't care what it takes. I will be.
I love it. I see a legacy in your future.
Yep.
Good
attitude.
When you think about opening a business or having a business, what do you like? What have you dreamt about? Just so you know, any answer is okay.
I mean, if I had to have my
Asian food restaurant,
100%. If I had to have my dream, it'd be like a power sports store. Honestly,
okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It's
jet skis, motorcycles,
anything that has a motor and a throttle. I'm good with. But if not that, honestly, probably trucking.
Gotcha.
There's I've just come to love it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I have a family of all educated relatives and parents. My sister just graduated from CU Boulder, and I'm over here like I'm a truck driver, and I'm doing just as good as basically anyone else. It seems like.
Absolutely, 100%. Trucking's come a long way. I mean, I've always been proud to be a trucker. You know, when I was running a mixer truck, what do? I drive a ready mix truck, and I said it with authority because I thought it was badass. You know what I mean? So definitely be proud of what you're doing. And we were just talking about the Trades for My Community thing that Paco's doing. And, you know, trades, on one hand, we're losing trades, but on the other hand, there's people that are making a killing. I mean, we got guys here making more. You say it all the time, Dave. You know, Janet's got engineers with master degrees that don't make what our drivers make.
Absolutely.
So, good for you.
Yeah. Have to bring a little story into this, Jam, because it was funny last night because the whole thing was, you know, you're my first time, obviously, which I don't know how many times you do that with a parent, right? Just to make a little light of it. But was the gentleman's name Ashton, Dave? Do you remember the driver?
The guy from Olingers that took Mom?
Yeah, was it?
I don't remember his name.
But anyway.
No offense, Chili Dog, but he looked like your brother.
But that was kind of the joke on the way home with Holly is, okay, so Olingers Mortuary showed up to pick Mom up. Coroner's pronounced her dead. Everybody's done their stuff. You know, and he shows up, and he was an awesome guy. But I joked with Holly, I'm like, so do you think he ever calls into dispatch and goes, I don't like this load? I'm not going to pick this person up. They're a little too heavy for me, or, you know, it's too far out of my way. You know, how do you do that?
I tore a mud flap off.
I don't like the hospital they're at.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I left my gate up on my Escalade or whatever it was, my Denali, limo, and I tore it off. And, do you ever run into that? And then, we were joking about it because then he got done and he asked for a little bit of help because he was by himself, and I was like, man, that's he has a rough job by yourself, right? Huh. And he asked if we could give him a hand, and I was there, Dave was there, Tyler was there, no problem. But as he was leaving, he's like, I have to apologize. My partner had a parent pass away, and she wasn't available to help me. I usually have two people. And there, again, if you want to match it up to what we do or what you're talking about, Colman, the guy was there to do his job,
right.
And no matter how difficult it was, and he did it, and he did a great job.
That had to be hard to ask for help for, too.
Right. And
Jim and I talked about it, Jam. There has to be some families that there is no way that could happen.
Exactly.
Right, like they can't look at the person, they can't touch them, they can't anything. Wow. Luckily, that's not us. So it was all good.
And the other thing is, we talk about. You just mentioned it because I thought about the same thing is, we're all proud to be truck drivers. You said even, I drive a ready mix truck, when you ask this gentleman, what's he do? What's his response? I pick up dead people, dude. Yeah. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, and I know there's a different way to state it because that's something amazing that he can do that job. I mean, the way he treated our mom, and loading her and stuff like that.
He had a lot of dignity.
Yeah, a lot of dignity.
He could be like the janitor. Like I helped put a man on the moon.
Yeah.
He could say something like,
right.
I help families find peace and comfort in their worst times.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, Jim.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at. It's all perspective. How do you look at it? Because he should be damn proud of the job he's doing.
Absolutely, good stuff, man. Colman, you had mentioned you're a little bit different than everybody else in the family as far as education and what they do, right? But do you think your parents are somewhat responsible for the man that you've come today?
Yeah. Okay. They, from a very young age, instilled in me, they're like, whatever you do, don't do it half-assed. Do it all the way.
Okay.
They're like, have a goal, just be respectful and do what you need to do. They're like, we're proud of you one way or another, just as long as you're happy doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember like a pivotal moment in your childhood? Like, because it sounds like you're close with your dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So him and I are the same person.
Okay.
Unfortunately or fortunately, don't know how that's going to play out just yet.
So you're growing up, your dad's a hero. I mean, do you remember a moment where you realized, like, I want to be like my dad and have his work ethic? Is there something that he did that sticks out to you?
I honestly gotta say, once when I like turned 21, 22, I finally started to realize, holy crap, they were right. And it was like, because
Some of those things are tough too.
You know, that's pretty young. Because a lot of people, I don't know if I ever thought about it until I was like 40. You know,
I was 51.
good for you, man.
51. So yesterday, right?
Yeah. Today, I was years old when I
I was
realized.
just gonna say that, Jim. I was today years old.
no, but I realized that everything that he kind of taught me and instilled in me was, I was like, holy crap. And I fought it for years. I was a horrible kid in high school. It was bad. I did everything under the book to piss them off. But they always told me, like, just, we'll be proud of you no matter what. Do what you want to do.
Nice.
That's really important. You know, as they say, even if you're a janitor, be the best janitor. You know, if you're an engineer, be the best engineer. But if you're a truck driver, be the best truck driver at doing your job.
I say, and that's
the most important thing, right?
Yep, that's how my dad's always been. He's tried to be the best at what he can do. My mom runs a school for at-risk kids. She tries to be the best at what she can do. She has a lot of things to fight. But
Did you help her with that career path?
you know, she almost put me in that a couple times.
Well, he was the one saying so.
Somebody interviewed her. Do you have any background? She, oh yeah.
I've been
I have no idea. Have you met Colman?
I've been a paramedic for 18 years.
No, and honestly, we're talking about my dad, but big shout out to my mom for all that she's done and helped me and supported me through there too. Because I, more so than my dad, because my dad kind of knew, he probably did the exact same thing, but I put my mom through hell. And still, I can call her. I could go call her right now, and she'd be willing to talk on the phone for 30 minutes, just give advice about this, that, the other thing.
Let's call her. Put her on speakerphone.
If you want. But it's, yeah, they've had, my parents have had a huge influence on everything I do, and they still have my back to this day. Like, hell, I live in their basement at the moment because I'm trying to buy a house, but
Yeah, what a great support network.
Yeah.
but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Do you talk to your parents about work here? Do they know about JFW?
About every single day. I come home proud to share what happened in my day.
That's cool.
So you think they'll listen to this episode of the podcast?
If anything, I hope they will.
Okay, so we're at 206 followers right now. We should be at 208 by next Wednesday.
You know, if my dad can figure out how to work Spotify, we might.
Okay.
Help them out.
Do they have like Google at home as far as like, you know, the little speaker?
I think
Or
we
Alexa?
Have I think we have the Alexas. Yeah, we have the Alexas.
They got their clap on, clap on.
I just know I'm shocked with Google. I can just go home and go, hey, Google, play Channel 23 podcast. And it picks up the latest episode. I don't do anything.
Yeah, I bet you Alexa would do that too.
Well, it's kind of funny. We have an Alexa. We have Alexas on like all levels. I have my own. That's like my alarm and stuff. But my mom will say something to it upstairs, and it starts picking it up all the way to downstairs.
Right.
So then, like all the ones in the house start doing something. It's kind of funny. They always listen. It's kind of concerning, but
Well, I can't speak for Alexa, but I know Google will do that.
oh yeah.
Good stuff.
Coleman, what's your favorite thing to do here at JFW?
Go end dumping.
Yeah. So just come to work.
That I really like. I like the core stuff. I like going out in the middle of nowhere. I find peace in nothing, almost.
Nice.
Go be with the cows. There's typically one, maybe two people that you might see, but excuse me. It's just kind of go out, do a core's load, be with yourself. Especially on like Sundays, there's no one on the roads. Oh, it's one of the best things.
Right.
Put on an old like trucking song, going down the road too.
Or a new one. Or a new trucking song.
Oh, like the JFW one?
Yeah. The shiny
Okay.
red trucks. What, you have anything else you want to discuss, Coleman? Did you bring anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I actually have a couple of questions for the brothers.
Great.
If they wouldn't mind. But kind of personal to me right now, but so with all the transmission issues going on,
That's a question for Dave.
yeah, has Eaton Fuller started to get involved a little bit more? Because I remember a couple podcasts ago you were saying how at the reveal for the 589 you guys had actually talked to Ian. Have they gotten more involved, or are we still fighting like PACCARs, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, so I mean, several things there. It's kind of twofold, right? So the guy we met down in Texas at Texas Motor Speedway for the 589 reveal, he knew us. I didn't know him, and we've been running 2 test transmissions for him for over a year. And that was how, when he saw my shirt, the logo on my shirt, he's like, "Oh, you're my company in Commerce City." And we were like, "Whoa." And so when you say, are they getting more involved? They have always been involved, but when the 2-party deal comes up, what I'm talking about is between Eaton and PACCAR. Mm-hmm. PACCAR is just kind of, I don't know, maybe this isn't the right words, but behind with what Eaton is doing. Like, Eaton will come up with an issue, or they'll find out an issue, they'll come up with a resolve, they post it on their website or their information background where we would go to look for something. Mm-hmm. They give that information to PACCAR, and PACCAR won't put it on for like 8 weeks because it needs to go through this department and clear their software engineers and, you know, whatever the case may be. So there's a lot more to it. And, you know, we mentioned several times on those on the transmissions that we think they're getting better. You know, they've come up with like version 2, and we actually think they're working on version 3 now as we speak. But I don't know if we should necessarily let the cat out of the bag. But
I would go for it.
Yeah, we've got a trip planned in 2 weeks. We're going back to Indiana to the Allison transmission factory, and we're going to test drive some Allison transmissions for the trucks. So literally fully automatic transmissions. They're like the automatic in a car.
So like the push button style ones that
put
are
it
in like the
drive
freight
and
shakers.
you have your foot on the brake. Otherwise, that some bitch is going.
Are they the 6-speeds?
They are 6 speeds. Yeah.
They're badass. I got to drive those for about 90 days, and they go.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
go.
They're. I mean, Rick Bowen, our salesman that's been on here before from MHC, he brought one of Kiewit's trucks over, and I couldn't personally drive it, but I got to ride with him, and I just couldn't drive it because it's Kiewit's truck, right? And anyway, it was a freaking race car. I mean, like, you pasted it, and that truck went. I mean, it was, as a matter of fact, it was the largest concern I had about the transmission because it was so fast. I mean, I think we'd just be smoking tires off the trucks, but we learned there's programming we can do, things we can set up. You know, it can just ease into the horsepower side of it and all of that. So that's kind of something we're excited about checking into, and that would be, if everything goes well, we'll have 5 trucks coming in the last quarter of the year. Mm-hmm. That if Jim and I approve of those transmissions, we'll test 5 of them in the 5 trucks coming in should be November, December, but we were promised 5 more Kenworths 4th quarter of this year. So I don't know if that answers all your questions on the transmission or not. Colman?
I want to piggyback on that. So are those coming down in weight, or are they the same weight as 5 years ago? Or?
So they're going to be heavier than the trucks we have, but as I have it narrowed down to about 200 pounds, Jam.
Okay.
And you can sacrifice 200 pounds for a truck that runs every day.
Right, yeah.
And that's the main thing about this transmission. This transmission, you take just the case has been around for like 26 years. It's not new technology. They've made upgrades and updates internally that have just made it better, but it's pretty much a bulletproof transmission. It is pretty crazy.
Honestly, right now, if I'd take an extra 200 pounds to have 93 back, but
right. I get it. I agree.
I know they match up with the Western Stars real nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, when are the Western Stars getting here?
Into the month should be.
Yeah, they're being made next week. Is what we heard. Yeah, so we got VIN numbers on the Western Stars, so it should be like Dave said. And then I think I just wanted to throw in there with the Eaton. I think, like Dave said, there's a lag on the PACCAR representation of that Eaton transmission, but the Eaton's always been their representative. Here is spot on. The guy we met is spot on. Their updates. It's truly just a PACCAR issue. And then I do know we're still fighting some parts issue, being able to get them, Colman. We just ran into that the other day on another ATM, right, Dave?
MTM.
I mean an MTM. But they also, I mean, to stick up for them, they brought 2 brand new transmissions in.
Yeah.
and we've been sitting on. I mean, they've been swapping them in trucks. We've just had more breakdown than we could put brand new transmissions in. So they did. Everybody has stepped up to help us and solve the problem.
Yeah, and PACCAR does believe in this transmission enough that they are doing away with every other transmission.
Oh, no way.
You won't be able to buy an Ultra Shift Plus. You won't be able to buy a 9-speed, a 10-speed, an 18-speed. They will be special order if you do that. The standard transmission is going to become the 12-speed we have, or they have an 18-speed version of that.
Or they still allow you to order an Allison.
Yeah, right.
A different brand.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the PACCAR,
Yeah.
the PACCAR will be that engine or
Yeah.
that transmission. Yeah.
What else you got, Coleman?
Are you guys getting any 589s, or do you not know yet? I think they're really cool trucks. It'd be cool to see them around here. But
Would you want one?
If you were lucky enough and you could pull the strings, you could get 389 of them, right, Dave? Numbered that way. 589 of them,
Yeah.
numbered that way. So clear from 0 to 589 are the first trucks to be manufactured, and you get that in your serial number.
Yeah.
And then from there, they were going to open up ordering, but I think you had to be dealership or 1,000 truck fleet or something like that.
Right, but
So-
here's the short answer: no. But no, here's the reason why, Coleman. They don't make the extended hood
Yeah.
in a day cab yet.
fair
The
enough.
day cab is a short hood,
Yeah.
and the long hood only comes with a sleeper, and we're like, that is the dumbest thing. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, and they were kind of
It makes
everybody's
zero
attitude
sense.
was, let them get this totally sundown, the other one, or
Yeah.
however they put it,
Yeah.
and get them, 1 year in that, and we're like, just take the sleeper off the truck.
Yeah,
It's
you're
the
already
same
making
truck.
it.
I say, don't they already make the day cab? Like
Yeah,
for
it's-
almost everything
It's
else.
the same. Yeah, it's the same cab. Yeah.
Other than our Freightliners, that's all our fleet has is that cab.
Yeah.
Period.
Kenworth,
Well,
Peterbilt.
and then a couple 389s we
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Which are gone, which will be gone. So it's just going to be that one cab.
Yeah.
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 All right, one last one. Of all the trucks that JFW you guys may have driven or built or anything like that, which ones were your favorite? And that's for everyone here.
Super Dave loved 009.
I really loved Big Red too. That was a special truck.
It was a good truck. I would have to say that was one of my favorites. But Super Dave had 009, and Cat put 2 test engines in it, and he fought that truck for years. He was such a good guy driving it because it overheated all the time, Coleman. I mean, it was.
Yeah, people complain about not being able to use Jakes coming down the hill, or I had to go up the hill at like literally 5 miles an hour.
Oh, no.
It had this little computer readout on the left hand side of my dash, so I could actually pull a hill, but I would have to keep the engine load under 70% to get up any hill. I mean, even North Glen Pass, which is I-25 coming up to 120th. As long as I kept that engine load under 70%, it wouldn't overheat. If I went over 70%, it would overheat. But on a big hill like Eisenhower, I was going like 4 miles an hour. Oh, shit. Something like that.
Yeah.
And that went on for years.
Yes, it did, Dave.
Sounds like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I think for me, Coleman, it's easier to remember the trucks that we didn't like more than the trucks that were our favorite. So I know Dave. Well, he had the next 009, right, Dave? Your black and blue one was
Yeah,
that
the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one,
Yeah, and I mean, I hated that truck because we had a friend that worked at Kenworth. And it was when the electronics first came out, and he was a good friend of ours, and he took Dave's and just kind of messed with it and did some programming and got kicked out of Kenworth's programming. Anyway, it was like 2 days later, and we were going to the mountains, and we come down, and that truck would walk all over mine. I mean, it ran. It would for an electronic motor, it would pull smoke and everything else. I passed him one day. We were coming back empty, and I passed him in the corner there on Floyd Hill, but I started like a mile back to get around him.
Come around that corner on 9 tires, I swear.
Probably my favorite truck, and probably turns out these trucks weren't that great after all. But back then, 0050, the Fitzgerald glider kit.
Yeah.
You know, I got that when it was brand new. It had an awesome dash package on it. It had automatic chains on it. So, you know, kind of make me felt like I was a big old truck driver, you know what I mean? But turns out they probably weren't that great, huh? Did you run into problems with them eventually, or?
I mean, the short time we didn't have them over 5 years, and we had to rebuild all the engines in them.
Right. Well, they were rebuilt to begin with, right?
But
That's what makes them a glider.
Yeah, but I mean, the good thing about it is that Series 60, I think we rebuilt them for like $1,500.
Right.
Like, it was more expensive to rebuild your pickup engine than those.
Right.
So, yeah,
that's
pros and cons to them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coleman, I would. My first true love was the OG 006, and that was the first hood. That was 4 1/4 cat. I mean, we put 6-inch straight pipes on it. It was a retarder.
Yeah.
I think it was a 260-inch wheelbase.
That's not nice.
Yeah, 15 over.
Yeah.
Or 15
Slap the
direct.
dash and mash the gas, man.
Yeah.
The pipes would talk, and the Vortox breathers every time you grabbed a gear. Like, we'd leave, like, Arcosa, right? Mm-hmm. There was a pit behind Arcosa that we hauled out of called Bluestone. And, like, back in the day, I mean, you didn't leave there unless you had 100,000 pounds on. And you'd make a left out of that pit, like a cool morning this morning with the rain. You'd roll it up to about 1,500 RPM, and the pipes are just, whoa. You let off the throttle to grab that gear, and you get and you grabbed it, and whoa, and it just walks on out, man. It was badass. The 295s that we had that Jim and I ordered, I mean, they were even bigger batter trucks. And what I mean by that is we were able to get, I think we went with 500s, right? That was when the 500 first came out, because the 294 Kenworths, they had 475s. The 295s, they had 500 E-model cats in them, 18 double overs. We had air track suspension instead of air leaf. I mean, those trucks, they had not only jakes, but they had jakes and retarders. You could put 110,000 pounds on those, roll out of Bluestone, and you could run right down 93 to Highway 58, come down that hill at the red light at 58, and you could stop with no brakes. Jesus. Just running the jake and retarder. I mean, you just shut it right down, right literally to 5 miles an hour. You'd step on the brake pedal and come to a stop. I mean, there wasn't more to those trucks than you could get. You know what I mean? And that's 30-year-old technology, right? So, yeah.
So, like I told Super Dave, I grew up in the wrong era of trucking. I wish I could have been around for some of that stuff to be new.
Yeah.
We had some junk back then. We ran the 444, the Cummins.
Yeah.
That was a terrible motor. We were always rebuilding that. Then we had 0011, the all-white one Paul drove with the first electronic motor in it from Cat.
It was a C.
It was a C.
C model, yeah.
It was junky. It was just
a bridge engine.
Yeah,
that was called a bridge engine,
right.
and it was bridging between the B model and the E for the electronic.
Yeah.
So it had some fuel timing issues. It was always having something done to it. So, yeah, Big Red, the original OG.
Do you guys have anything for the discussion? We still got questions from the audience, safety stats, everything else. Did you want to jump in on anything here yet? No?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Keep going with the questions from the audience. Are you all done, Coleman?
I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
So Steve Barnes, he's really interactive with us. He always has good questions and feeds me a bunch of dad jokes. I used my own today, though. I was proud of that. But anyway, he said for the brothers, as it hasn't been brought up in the past, being sarcastic, maybe a couple of months, the direction of Yard 23. Are there any plans on paving the parking lot to cut down on the mud from when it rains or in the winter when the snow melts? I understand that it is a very expensive project.
Yeah, on that part, I mean, just a quick update. I'm sure Dave will jump in here. We've looked at 3 bids. We're waiting on the third one. We've done a couple building design stuff like that, and we also have a deal cut with Brandon that they're redoing Colorado Boulevard, so we're going to get quite a few asphalt grindings from that job. But we probably won't do a whole lot with the parking lot until we have a building design, and then what goes along with the building design is a grading design, and that's a pretty important thing for me and Dave, because we want, like this yard, like the red yard, like that yard now, We want to eliminate all water spots, all water holes, potholes. We just want done with that. We want no mud, nothing like that. I don't think we'll ever be able to afford paving it, but as far as putting a good base of recycled asphalt down, and then having some valley pans of water that'll drain to, a detention or retention pond, and then go off site. So it's basically kind of a slow process of, they set up the parking the first time, and that was what, Dave, 2 or 3 weeks of drawings back and forth to make sure we could fit, up to 150 trucks was our goal on the new property. Where we were putting the building on the property. Obviously I can make all the excuses. It is a slow process. We want to make sure we have the right prices and do the right things. But, we didn't expect the wettest, fourth wettest May, wettest June in history. We
didn't expect to have more rain than Seattle. By July 1st.
Right. When they showed poor Chris Beam's motorcycle in the shed, that should have been a safe place to park it, and it's running in the exhaust pipes.
Yeah.
It's just, just really crazy stuff, Steve, this season. Pretty good snow season last time, but yeah, it's, we've spent our career doing this, and sometimes it seems really fast, and other times things just seem slow. It takes a while to get your ducks in a row.
No pun on the ducks.
Yeah. Yeah, in the water.
Yeah, and I just to be uber clear on that, we need a grading plan.
Yeah.
That means drainage is created in the drainage plan or the grading plan. That means wherever it rains, water runs to a specific area, goes into a drain, goes to a retention pond. There's never any puddles. If we took right now, we have enough recycled, we could probably cover where the trucks park. And then once we do the grading plan, it's all ruined. We've lost all of it. So we need the ground graded to create the drainage. Then we'll be able to put I call it recycled asphalt, but it's millings.
Yeah, milling recycled asphalt, yeah.
By the time we add what Brandon brings in and what we have over there, we'll have enough to put 6 inches of recycled millings over the whole yard. So, it will literally, over time, it will become asphalt.
Yeah, it'll look like an asphalt yard.
It will look like an asphalt
especially with
yard.
6 inches of it.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Yeah, it's just something that we're excited for, but we can't screw the planning up.
It's just not happening fast enough.
Nope. Not for anybody.
Yeah.
For you guys and us.
All right, next question from Steve Barnes. For everyone in the room, what's your funniest memory here at JFW? I could go first on this one. Scooby. No. We just have so much fun all the time. Working here is just, you're guaranteed to have a laugh every single day. So the funniest memory, I can't really pinpoint one. I know the one I bring up a lot is a conversation between Scooby and Brother Dave in the kitchen one day. So when Scooby came back to work here, he made it very clear he doesn't want to drive anymore. He's going to come in and, he doesn't drive. And if he does drive, he definitely doesn't want to go to the mountains. So it was it was maybe his first week or two, and we're in the kitchen talking about what we got going on, and Scooby's like, yeah, I think I'm going to go on a ride-along today, because before Samsara, we used to do a lot of ride-alongs. And Brother Dave said, I think you're going to go on a drive-along. We got empty trucks. So there's just been so many funny times. Or I remember Brother Dave being frustrated. I think they all involve Brother Dave, actually. I remember being in the shop one day, and we were having a rough morning here, and Brother Dave he was a little frustrated, but he said with a smile, I just love effing working here. It's another fun. It just goes on and on, things like that, and a lot of practical jokes and ribbon go on every single day.
Yeah. We laugh, you guys, because there are so many stories. What goes along with that when you say that is you can't make this shit up. Right? We have so many stories people tell us all the time. You should write a book. It just never ends with the stories. And one right quick that I don't know that it's the funniest for me, but it's funny, but it's just a vivid memory. And this was way back. This is in the other shop next door, before we built this building. And we actually had a friend of Dad's that said, "Hey, was Mac one of the old Commerce City like mayor's brother-in-law or something like that, Jim?"
that. Yeah, you're
it,
right.
It was
Dave.
it was a
one of the councilman's
Yeah.
brother-in-law. something
right.
like
Dad
that,
was
yeah.
friends with him, and he's like, "Hey, my brother-in-law needs a job, and he's got a Class A, and can he work for you?" And Dad was like, "Yeah, bring him down." And he's like, "How come he doesn't have a job?" "Well, sometimes he has a drinking problem." And we're like, "Okay, well, back then a lot of truck drivers have a drinking problem, right?" So this guy's name was Mac. Turns out we nicknamed him Mac the Crack Smoker. I think that was before. We nicknamed him that before you smoked crack. I don't even think crack was around.
No,
it was this long ago, right? But somehow we named him Mac the Crack Smoker, and he'd went through a time or two here where when he was here, he was a good driver. We had no problems with him. And then he'd kind of go on a bender and disappear for a day or two or 4 or whatever the case may be. And he'd come back. I had some problems. I won't do that again. And anyway, make a long story short, you guys, he went out, got his paycheck on Friday night, and he winds up. Was it the Silver Saddle, Jim, or the other one that's the Mexican restaurant?
No,
now
it was
on
the
Highway
Silver
2?
Saddle,
Silver
the
Saddle.
one with the low ceilings.
Well, only at one end.
Yeah, one end. Yeah, you had to duck to go pee.
Yeah, when you got to
The
the
classy
north
place.
end of the urinal, you had to duck because the ceiling was so low. Anyway, Mac goes out there and he ties one on, and he's like, "Hey, I'm thinking I'm not going to drink and drive because I'm smarter than that." But it was cold out, so he goes out and starts his car and climbs in the back seat and proceeds to go to sleep. And everything was good, and then all of a sudden he's kind of being shaken and woken up, and he's kind of in a daze and doesn't know what's going on.
And he's still probably a little inebriated.
Yeah, maybe just a little inebriated. And anyway, he winds up, he's being removed from the car, and he kind of panics and he starts swinging and hits a few people, and it turns out his car is on fire. It caught fire sitting there idling, and the fire department is there, and the police department's there trying to save the guy's life. They're dragging him out of the back seat because the car's on fire. And needless to say, he threw a few punches, and they threw back a few punches, and they kind of won, right? And Mac was gone. Like, we didn't know any of this had happened. Weeks went by, and we're like, well, apparently Mac's on a little longer bender this time. He's no longer employed here. And he comes in and just starts talking to everybody and proceeds to tell us the story, and we're like, "God, Mac, that's terrible," because I think he spent like a week in jail and everything.
Yeah, with
right,
no
Jim?
phone call, nothing. Yeah.
Then what was left of his car, he was able to go get what was left of his belongings out of it. And we're like, "Well, that just sucks, Mac." And he goes, "Yeah," he said, "I was just so thankful that I got my teeth back." And we're like, "Got your teeth back?" And he's like, "Well, I have false teeth." And he said, "I took them out and I laid them on the vinyl dash." And he says, while I was in jail, the car was impounded, what was left of it. And we're like, "Well, I'm glad you got your teeth back." He's like, "Yeah, I just don't think I'm ever going to get that green vinyl and the smell of burning smoke out of him." He had to take his pocket knife and scrape the melted green vinyl off his teeth, you guys.
Those were some rough-looking teeth.
Oh, Mac the Crack Smoker. And I just have to continue to say, you can't make this shit up. These are true stories, man. True stories.
Yeah. For me, since it's help me out, Dave. Since I've made it about Mom or thought, and I don't know how funny it is, but Mom had a thing that she just, she'd be talking to people and she just ask them, not the craziest question. She's just curious, just ask them. She wanted to get to know you. And we had this fuel hauler guy. We used to buy it from Harpel Fuel, and it was our same delivery guy every time, for years. And one day he come in to get his ticket signed, and we've all noticed about him, and he had the tightest little curls like afro, in his hair. If hopefully that's politically correct, and nice looking guy. And Mom several times would go, "I wonder if he has his hair permed. It's always so perfect. And I'm like, "Well, ask Mom." So he's in getting his ticket signed, and Mom's like, "Hey, whatever his name was, your hair is always so nice looking, and do you get it permed?" And he's like, "No, I was in a terrible fire, and this is a wig."
Oh man.
It was just always one of those. I don't know how funny that is, but Mom was like, "Oh, okay. Well, it's a very nice wig." And
Yeah, it was pretty hard to recover from that. She was like,
I was like, she's like, "Well, guess I won't ask that question anymore."
That's great. All right, safety.
Dave, you don't have one? You're not going to roll a story
I've got
out
a
there?
bunch, man. I've got a bunch.
I have one for you, but I don't know. if
No,
you-
I mean, I tell you, there's so many, you guys. And like you said, Dave, that you just can't make this stuff up.
You can't.
You know, and from back in the day when Toad grabbed the wrong mic and started
Oh,
talking
man.
on the company radio.
That's a classic.
Man,
but-
we need to bleep that one out.
Oh man, and I can't even tell you what he was saying, but it was
Yeah.
classic. And then the day, that snow day that we made the potato guns, and put that big dent in the shop door, and then shot that.
the hole? You mean? Not
Yeah,
the dead
that's right. And then we shot one over the houses, and it went so far we didn't even know where it went.
Yeah.
Or Doogie and his bubble gum. And I'm not even going to say what the bubble gum is, but use your imagination, right? Ripping farts at the driver's table, and this is in the old shop. The driver's table, it was like a big long room, and Jim Senior's office was off to one side, and Evelyn's office was kind of at the end of the room, and her desk was around the corner. You couldn't even see that if she was in there. And it was one morning, we were all sitting there. I guess it was a snow day or something, but there probably was about 10 of us there, and we were talking a bunch of shit, right? And we were just, truck driver BS. And the next thing you know, we heard this laughter coming from the office, and we were like, "Oh my God, Evelyn's in there." She didn't, get mad or anything. She just laughed and laughed, and we all looked at each other like, "Oh my God, Evelyn's listening. She's in there." But I tell you, the things that you just can't make up were, some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the winter mornings when you were waiting for a dispatch or whatever. Remember, Chuck, the old man Tanner? CJ had fart on him every morning.
Chuck, he would get so upset, and CJ would, he just laugh, that airy laugh that,
But I mean, he'd lift up his butt and stick it right in Chuck's face, man. Like Chuck was shocked every day.
And he did it every day.
Right?
Must have saved it up for hours just for Chuck. Oh, man.
good stuff.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Some of the stuff you just had to be there. That's
Yeah,
all there is
right,
to it.
yeah.
You just have to be there.
Doogie's going away party,
Yeah, you had to be there for that.
and again with CJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
All right, moving on to the safety topic of the week. JR put the Samsara podcast safety stats together for June 1st to the 30th. The fleet distance driven was 569,115 miles. I like that number.
Yep, over 500,000 miles.
Our fleet safety score in June is holding steady at 95. The previous month was also a 95. And the top safety risk factors in June are, number one, speeding. In general, time-sensitive speeding is down 15%. Majority is light speeding, 1 to 5 miles per hour over, which we don't count into our score, but worsened by 13% from May.
Ooh.
Moderate speeding, well, I wonder if that's because some of the moderates went down to light.
Yeah, you moved them, right?
Yeah.
Or we moved them?
Yep. Moderate speeding, 5 to 10 mile an hour over the limit, worsened by 23% from May. And heavy speeding, 10 to 15 miles per hour, improved by 26%. So I think some of those heavies moved down to moderate and moderate to lights.
Mm-hmm.
Severe speeding, well, 50 miles an hour plus,
What happened there?
has worsened by 16% as compared to May. So that just got worse. Okay.
People were hustling.
Yep. Collision risks, 20% more than May. 394 total following two close events, which is 29 less events than in May, at 423%. The first week we had 87 events, second week 75 events, third week 75, fourth week 75, and the fifth week 134 events.
Why is that? Almost double.
I don't know. Well, it can't be because we shortened it to 1.5 seconds from one.
No,
or
we
lengthened
did that
it.
we
did
while
that
ago.
a while ago, right? Huh. I have to get with JR on that.
Yeah, is this becoming in place enough, and we're getting pretty good set of stats that we tie something to the safety bonus to it, or add another bonus in there or something? I mean,
Something to discuss.
if we're rising when we were down or something like that, maybe something we need to look at.
Absolutely. Distracted driving, inattentive driving, total of 1 inattentive driving event, which is 4 less than May. So we're getting better on that. That to me is more important than speeding.
Yeah.
And then mobile usage, we had 21 events, which is 6 less than in May. So better there as well.
That's a plus.
Yep. Crashes, we had 2 events in June, 1 more than May. We had a crash on Highway 85 and 136. The car turned in front of a driver coming from the left turn lane. Not our fault. And then we had a crash on I-70. Pickup truck driver drove on shoulder and tried to squeeze in front of our truck, colliding with the fender of our truck. Not our fault either. Policy violations, no seatbelt use. We had 3 events in June, which is 2 less than in May. So we're doing better there. Harsh driving, 45 total events. Harsh brakes with 33 of them. And harsh turn with 12 of them. And I think we did increase the sensitivity on the harsh driving events. Traffic signs and signals, we had 20 events for June, 3 more than in May. Rolling stops, that was 16 total events. We only had 3 in May. And ran a red light, 2 events, which we had none in May. So not good there.
Do you guys feel like we talked about that as much in June? Do you think we
totally talked about rolling stops,
Yeah.
Jim, because remember those
in
don't.
June or in May, Dave? You
Just
think?
like a couple weeks ago, we talked
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
I just-
we don't record those. It doesn't post it unless it's over 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, we
and I'm
did.
like,
I
oh
do
my
remember.
God, you're blowing a stop
Stop
sign
sign
at
at
5
5.
miles
Yeah.
an hour?
Right.
That's true.
That just seems significant to me.
And just for our listeners, not justifying it at all, some of those are coming out of like pits or plants. Not saying it's okay,
Yeah.
but it's like, I just got loaded. We're going through this stop sign, on a county road or something like that. Not saying it's good at all.
Yeah, I think we kind of had that discussion, which we, with the automatics that are in the trucks now, you don't have to shift, you don't have to, push the clutch in, you don't have to find a gear, you don't have to upshift. So that really shouldn't be happening. And then like Dave just mentioned, I mean, for years I've rolled the stop sign, out of the pit, but I know it wasn't faster than 5 miles an hour. You roll up, you grab that gear that's easy to take you around the corner, and then you go on.
Yeah.
So you don't have to try to get going from a stop to get out on 66 or 52 or whatever it might be, Jam. So I think that's still a problem because of the speed at which you were rolling the stop sign.
Sure.
It kind of worries me, some of that stuff with the automatic transmission. That's that third gear default.
Yeah.
So
just
that
rolling.
truck is coming all the way down to third gear and going where when you say you would, I hate to use the term, but run the stop sign, we just didn't fully stop.
Yeah.
But you came up to it and you rolled I rolled the gear shift over with our 18 speeds. I rolled it into granny and over.
Yeah.
Because that was a fast gear to split back to first. But it was granny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not 5 miles an hour in granny, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so true.
Top 12 Samsara safe drivers for June, all tied for first place. We got Potter, Greg Wise, Rick Gray, Herb Turner, Teddy Hernandez, Edward Ramirez, Jesse Rodenbaugh, John Moore, Mike Bortz, Troy Holmes, Nat Bisignano, and Fred Powell.
It's a good group of guys right there. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The top 9 are tied for first, right?
Well, I think there's just a typo in this because then he says second place, 12 drivers tied at 99.
Gotcha.
So somewhere
Okay.
something got miskeyed there.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to give Coleman kind of a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing him on that. Is there some adrenaline going on, Coleman? I mean,
Do you know your safety score?
I'm pretty sure I'm at a 99 currently.
All right, second place. AKA first loser.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Third place, we got 15 drivers tied in 98.
Ah, good.
In the green, we got 90 plus in the green, 90 plus score. We have 105 drivers, which is 2 less than May. In the yellow, which is 80 to 89, we have 10 drivers, which is 2 less than the month of May. And in the red, less or equal to a 79. For the first time since the incorporation of Samsara, no one is in the red zone.
Wow, congratulations, everybody.
Small victory.
Yeah.
Good job.
JR says, shout out to whole fleet for improving their driving habits to be safer drivers and improving the fleet safety score overall. To those who actively coach their peers as well to improve and remind them all of the JFW way. Good job to everyone. Our goal is to be better. Our goal to be better continues on a daily basis, one load at a time, one day at a time.
Very good.
Or as Vin Diesel says, I live my life a quarter mile at a time. No tips and tricks this week. Super Dave, you want to hit us with the high road hauling?
Sure. So the high road hauling this week is one for Brother Dave's heart. This week we're going to talk about 3 Steve Jobs stories that will help you make choices and navigate life. So in 2005, Steve Jobs was asked to give the graduation commencement speech at Stanford University. He said, I want to tell you 3 stories. And the first story was about connecting the dots. He started by recounting how he dropped out of Reed College after 6 months to save his adopted parents the high tuition they were paying for what Jobs perceived was an expense that would not help him figure out a career. Jobs stuck around Reed for another 18 months, sleeping on a friend's dorm room floor. He dropped in on a Reed calligraphy course, which fascinated him. 10 years later, Jobs was designing the Macintosh computer, and his fascination with calligraphy came back to him. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have had them at all. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on this calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do today. Jobs told the assembled Stanford community. And while Jobs had no idea this would ultimately happen, he was able to connect the dots looking back. His takeaway? You have to have trust in something, in your gut, in destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life. Second story he told was that what Jobs learned after Apple fired him at age 30. This story is about love and loss. 10 years after Jobs started Apple in his parents' garage, Apple was a $2 billion company with more than 4,000 employees. In April 1983, Apple hired Pepsi executive John Sculley as CEO, who arranged for Jobs to get fired in 1985. Jobs was saying that they had just released their finest creation, which was the Macintosh computer, a year earlier, and he had just turned 30 years old. And then he got fired. While he felt Apple had jilted him, Jobs said he still loved what he did, and the turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I had been rejected, but I was still in love. So I decided to start over, Jobs said. 5 years later, Jobs had started Next, which Apple acquired in 1997 for, I'm sure, a few $1 billion. And they brought Jobs back as CEO in 1997. And then Pixar, which went on to launch the highly successful animated story feature film Toy Story. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but Steve Jobs was absolutely essential in Pixar's development of all of that animation. I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that, Dave.
Till I read about it. But his lesson for listeners, don't lose faith. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Do not settle. And the third story, how Jobs' recovery from cancer changed his life. But the story is about death. The imminence of death helped Jobs make big choices, made him shed all his pride, all his fear of embarrassment or failure. In 2004, doctors told Jobs he had pancreatic cancer, and his doctor gave him 3 months to live. Fortunately, a biopsy revealed that his cancer was operable, so he survived. In his Stanford speech, he wished for decades more time, but tragically, he passed about 6 years later. His admonition for Stanford students was clear: your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. And the quote this week is by Steve Jobs. He said, "My favorite things in life don't cost any money. It's really clear that the most precious resource we all have is time." And how true is that? So there you have it, the High Road Hauling this week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Super Dave. It's a good one.
Final thoughts, everybody?
Steve Jobs is your hero, isn't he, Dave?
He did amazing things for us, right, Dave?
He did.
He truly did, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I just have a quick quote, and if I try dwelling too much into it, it'll get all gushy because it's too much of a raw nerve right now with Mom just passing, less than 10 hours ago here. So nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
100%.
So you got to care about people to care for yourself. Got to care about others.
Well, I do, but
Want to come back? Sure. Coleman?
I just thank you for having me on. It's been a lot of fun being in the room with you guys, seeing how this all works. Good job for everyone improving all their safety stuff too. That's really cool to see. Yep. As Jim looked over at me and said, I think I dropped a point or two, which I need to improve on that. But overall, as a company, I think everyone's really trying to be safe, and we have a very good set of people that all have the house and JFW in mind. We're all the family's getting stronger, it seems like.
Sure. Any advice for new drivers coming on board here?
Just stick with it. Like I'm beginning to realize more and more. With brothers always say, wait a year. Mm-hmm. It's been 6 months, actually 7 months to the day.
Whoa, man, I had the wrong information.
Come on, but it all comes. You just have to want it. You have to go and get it. Yep. When I got hired on here, it's all the reviews are, they don't give you this, they don't give you that. It's like, well, you didn't ask for it. Huh. I was like, you just got to go. You got to go get it. You got to be willing to put your best effort forward.
I like it. Soup.
Yeah, I just kind of want to leave off with the thought about when people talk to me, they talk about the company. Well, I hear this is a really good company, or I applied here because it's a good company, or all of that. And you know what? It's not about the company, because the company is the people. And it's the people that make the difference. It's not a company. JFW is the people.
100%.
Yeah, well put, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, my final thoughts is let's keep the White family lifted in prayer. Jim and Dave and Senior, we love you. If you need anything, please lean on the JFW family. We're here for you guys. Let's go ahead and say the creed and get on out of here.
All righty. Together we
face and overcome all that stands before us.
Together we are accident-free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. And together we are the JFW family.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I hear there's a couple million tons to move. I see them everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. They just keep them doors a-closed, keep them butts in their seats, cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.